Hello Reborners, my name is Karen and this is Making Dolls with Karen. I'm back with Ashley and she has had her bake and she is indeed getting dark now. I think it just took some of that ethnic skin tone to do it. But she's starting to look darker. I'm going to put her next to a blank kit so you can see the difference. I'm also going to put her next to a baby that was painted with Caucasian skin tones. This is Jenny. I did her on a video. Haven't put her together yet. But you see, she doesn't really look ethnic. She looks darker than this baby, but she doesn't look like she could actually be any other race but white. She just looks like a dark white baby to me. But anyway, that's where we're at. She's starting to get dark, but she's just not there. It could be I can't make her any darker. I'm going to continue to put some coats on her for another 2 to 3 coats. I don't know. And see what happens. I believe this is the, yes it is. This is it. I'm going to also try some more blush on her and possibly another purple layer. I really don't know yet. I'm going to put this on. I'm hoping to do it twice before I bake her this time. I'm just afraid with this really dark paint it's going to turn shiny or chalky or something. Some sort of snafu because you put 2 layers of really dark paint on a doll. But I don't know yet. Yep. Will be heat gunning her so she'll get nice and dry. And I might just follow this with a purple layer or a red layer, a blush layer. I don't know which one. Unfortunately, I had to abandon the modeling. She's very, very, very modeled right now, so she doesn't need any more modeling in my opinion. What she needs is to be darker, and this is a much quicker way to get her darker than the modeling layers. The Ashley kit has very thick vinyl. That's one thing I noticed about her. So baking her multiple times is probably not going to ever damage her vinyl. Unlike some of the dolls that have very, very thin vinyl, it might, you know. You want to try to at least strategically place your bakes on those thin dolls where they are not as many, you know, like do as many enhancements as you can before you bake and stuff like that. But with Ashley, I didn't even do any enhancements. Everything I've done to her has been either a model layer or a wash layer. And I don't know, it's just not been productive. She's not going to look all that good, I can tell you that. But like I said, she's going to a little kid, and kids don't look for, oh, she doesn't have any veins. They're not going to look for that. They're going to just look at the baby doll and go, oh, I got a baby doll, you know. But I am trying my best to make her look good. I'm not just changing out because it's going to a kid. I'm trying to do a good job on her. But as far as enhancements, I just don't know if they're even going to show with this really dark skin tone. Now, she's a dark baby. She is. But I don't know. If you were trying to make her into a Caucasian baby, you might be going, she's way too dark for that. But she's just hanging in limbo in between, it looks like to me. She doesn't really look ethnic at all, But then again, if you were looking at her thinking, I'm making a Caucasian baby, you'd be going, well, she don't look that either, you know. So I don't really know, maybe Hispanic or something. She's got a darker skin tone than white babies should have, but she still kind of looks like she's in the white range to me. But I don't know, I'm just probably overthinking it. Some other people might look at her and go, oh yeah, she looks ethnic. You know, I don't know. I may also put some other skin layers that I put on the Caucasian babies, like warm blush, and I don't know. I don't know what to put on her, really. She doesn't look like she's fully painted. She almost looks like she's painted just very spotty with some air dry or something. She just looks unfinished to me. She does look a little darker, but I just don't know. I don't know at all. We're going to see. I'm going to heat her up with this air gun, heat gun, a little bit to see if we can get her dry enough for another coat. They're not fully dry, but I just can't keep doing that. They're going to dry real quick now because they're 90% dry and a little bit warm. So as they cool, they'll dry. But anyway, I better put this pacifier back up here on this doll, or I might forget which doll it goes on. Anyway, we're going to put another coat on her. I'm unsure what color it should be. Oh, let me look at these colors for a minute. I ought to blush her up a little, I guess. Excuse me. I'm just undecided. It's very, very hard to decide what to do next. Yet another coat of this might make her even darker. I just don't know. I'm thinking maybe some lip nails blush coat on her because, well, this is the ethnic, so it would be closer to what should be on her because she is an ethnic baby, or she's supposed to be an ethnic baby. Let's put it that way. So naturally, her color should be that of an ethnic baby. I think I used my red brush in the, pretty sure I did. Because this is the brush I should have been using right here. Oh well. Now where's that other brush I had? I think this is the right brush. You know, you can't even hardly see any, there's no color in this brush at all. I'm just going to use it for this. This is this color, I think. Oh, I'm so confused with these sponges and stuff. Yeah, this is this color. This is going to be an all-over blush. I'm reserving actually blushing her cheeks and stuff to see if she's ever going to come out right. So I'm not really sure she's even going to get that layer. I just stopped doing the blue, red, and yellow because those colors neutralize each other a lot. And you end up with no color on your doll because each layer is sort of neutralizing the one before. And if you look at your color wheel, if you have a color wheel, if you don't, I recommend you get one. But if you look at your color wheel, you'll see colors all the way around in a circle. And whatever color your doll seems to be to you, say you think it's orangey looking. If you look at the orange and then you look straight across from, like, say the orange is down here on the circle, and whatever color's up here on the top of the circle, that's what will neutralize it. The opposite color that's absolutely completely opposite from them. And if it's bluish looking or greenish looking or whatever way it looks that you don't like, you pick the color that's sort of opposite it, and that color will neutralize it. And I believe yellow neutralizes blue and purple. So those are two of the colors I was using, was blue and purple. But I had previously put a layer of yellow on her. That was the first layer I did, was yellow. But you know, I just don't know. Other colors, like red, also might be slightly neutralized by a yellow. I don't know. I just know that yellow's contrary to a lot of the colors you use. But a lot of people put yellow and green and orange on their dolls when they're modeling. They just use every color they have. And some other people just use the primary method. They only use primary colors, which is red, yellow, and blue. Which, if you don't use the yellow, well, then you're just using red and blue. And they somehow seem to make it work. I don't know how they do that because it just doesn't seem like it could to me. It just seems like it's impossible. But what do I know, you know? See, right off the bat, that looks darker than this one. You might not can tell on camera, but it is. This one's darker than this one. But they still have to be baked, and a lot of times the color is very, very minimized after the bake. So it doesn't always make the doll that much darker, but each layer does add something. Every color adds something. It may be a small amount, but it still adds. But I'm trying to add a little quicker than just a small amount. I'm trying to add a little bit more to her, because this is a lot of layers I've already put on her, and several bakes, and she's still not as far along as I want her to be. But here soon, I'm just going to say, okay, this is all I'm doing, and you know, I'm just going to stop, because she's not going up for sale anyway. She's just going to go to that little child, and it's going to be a freebie. You know, I'm just giving it to the neighbor's little children for their birthday. She's got 2 little kids, and her little girl got one for her birthday already, and the little boy was just having a screaming fit. He wanted that doll, and she said, yeah, it's okay for him to have a doll. You know, I didn't know some people don't let their boys play with dolls, but so I asked her first, and she said, yeah, he can have a doll. I said, okay, I'll make him one then. And she wanted him to have a black baby doll, so I'm trying my best. He's just gonna turn 3, and the little girl just turned 4, but that little girl seems much older than a 4-year-old to me. But that little boy does not. He can't even talk. Not really. I mean, I can't understand him. He mumbles. But I'm you know, my kids did that, not at 4 though. I mean 3 though. He's about to be 3, I think, next month. And he still mumbles. My kids talked in words by then. But anyway, I'm sure his mother can understand him. At one point, my kids were talking in mumbles too, but I think that was around 1.5 or something. And but I understood them. I understood what they wanted. But and she probably does, but I just don't. He'll come over to try to tell me something, showing me a toy and trying to tell me something, and I go, okay, you know, because I don't know what he's saying. But, you know, you don't want to be rude to the little child. You want to, you know, take an interest in what, trying to show me his trucks and stuff. Just trying to be friendly, I guess. And he'll pick one up and he'll come over and he'll start mumbling about it. And I have no idea what he's saying. But he's cute. He's trying to tell me something about that truck or that car or whatever he's showing me. I'm going to be penciling Ashley's hair on. I don't think a 3-year-old needs a doll with hair. A 4-year-old doesn't either, but I just pulled a doll out of my bargain babies to give to her. I had put my bargain babies up for sale, and you know, she was talking, sitting out on the porch one day with her daughter, and she was talking to her about her birthday, and I said, oh, does she have a birthday coming up? And she said, yeah, in July. And I said, well, oh, does she like baby dolls? And she said, yes, she does. And I said, well, I make dolls, so I'll make her a doll. And she said, oh, thank you so much, you know. And so I decided, well, I've already got these bargain dolls. I don't need to make her a special doll. Just give her one of those, you know. And she liked it. She put eyeshadow all over it. But in my experience, eyeshadow comes off. I tried to use it to crease the dolls and it came right off. Now she's looking very dark. I don't know if that's going to stay after the bake, but she looks very dark. So we're going to stop and get her in the oven and get her a bake, and we'll come back and reassess her need for more paint. We may not need to do any more paint. I'm not sure yet. She looks a little bit, slightly teeny little bit ethnic now, but she hasn't baked yet. So see, that's the problem. After the bake, she may not look that way anymore. But we'll see. We'll get there. Maybe I'll rotate the O2 with the ethnic lip, nail, and blush. because it the red seems to add a little bit of a different color. And different colors seem to do better than the same color just over and over and over. I'm not saying you shouldn't have 2 coats of the same color or something, but just piling on the same color, for one thing, you're going to have the flattest color on a doll you ever saw. I mean, seriously, very, very flat. And for another thing, it doesn't add any depth or realism or anything to your doll. So, not that mine has a lot of realism. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's a little better if you're switching colors. Even if you want to go back to a darker color later, putting on different coats will darken them up probably a little quicker than putting on a bunch of coats of the same color. If that makes any sense at all, I don't know. But anyway, we're going to get her in the oven and get her baked and see what happens. So please remember to like, subscribe, and share, and happy reborning.